Imagine a man so skilled at surviving chaos that he managed to outlive the French Revolution, serve Napoleon, betray him, and still die rich, respected, and with his head firmly attached to his shoulders. That man was Charles-Maurice de Talleyrand-Périgord, the most cunning diplomat to ever step foot on European soil. Talleyrand wasn't just a politician, he was a walking, talking enigma with a moral compass that could only be described as optional. Kings fell, empires crumbled, and yet he sailed through it all, outsmarting both fate and rivals with a devilish smirk and a fat bank account. This is the unbelievable tale of a man who sold out his country and still found a way to come out ahead. Was he a genius, a villain, or maybe both? By the end of this video, you'll have your answer. Born in 1754 into the aristocracy, Talleyrand's early life sounds like the setup for an exclusive French royalty story, until you realize his family treated him like a defective product. Why? A childhood accident left him with a limp, which in 18th century France was the equivalent of putting a neon sign on your forehead that said, "Not fit for war." So as any family that cares for their son does, they sent him to the church. Now let's be honest. Talleyrand's devotion to God was about as believable as a New Year's resolution to quit chocolate, but being a bishop came with perks, wealth, power, and an easy ticket into high society. Talleyrand used his position not to save souls, but to network. And oh boy did he network. He donned the ropes and climbed the ecclesiastical ladder, more concerned with earthly pleasures than heavenly salvation. By 1788, he snagged the prestigious title of Bishop of Autun, not because of his spiritual devotion, but because of his talent for networking, or depending on how you look at it, scheming. As the French Revolution brewed, Talleyrand saw the winds of change blowing, and he wasted no time adjusting his sails. He embraced revolutionary ideas selectively. For instance, he supported the confiscation of church property, not on some newfound commitment to liberty, but because he could pocket a hefty sum along the way. As a bishop, he helped sell off church lands, ostensibly for the good of the people. However, a good chunk of that money found its way into his own pocket. But Talleyrand's opportunism didn't stop there. In 1789, he became a delegate to the Estates General and later played a key role in drafting the civil constitution of the clergy, which effectively put the church under the state. This move made him a hero to revolutionaries and a traitor to the Vatican. But did Talleyrand care? Not in the slightest. His eyes were already on the next opportunity. When things got too bloody in France, Talleyrand made a smooth exit, first to England, then to America, all while cozying up to the elite. But he wasn't gone for long. He returned to France in 1796, just as a young general named Napoleon Bonaparte was rising to prominence, and Talleyrand knew exactly where to place his bets. By 1799, Talleyrand had become Napoleon's foreign minister, a position that gave him the perfect front row seat to one of the most audacious empires in history. But don't be fooled. While Napoleon was busy conquering Europe, Talleyrand was busy playing a different game. His job was simple: make Napoleon's rule look legitimate, both at home and abroad. But here's the thing about Talleyrand. He was an exceptional foreign minister, but that didn't stop him from keeping a close eye on his bank account and his personal interests. Take the Louisiana Purchase, for example. In 1803, Talleyrand brokered the sale of France's North American territories to the United States for $15 million. On the surface, it seemed like a win-win. Napoleon got a fat cash infusion for his endless wars, and the US doubled its size. But Talleyrand, he saw it as an opportunity to offload the French liability, boost his own political leverage, and quietly pocket a healthy commission. Talleyrand wasn't merely Napoleon's foreign minister. He was also the embodiment of a threat from within, a masterful adversary operating right under Napoleon's nose. Talleyrand's real genius wasn't in serving Napoleon, it was in betraying him. While Napoleon was busy conquering Europe, Talleyrand was busy undermining him. The two men had fundamentally different approaches to power. As Napoleon's ambitions spiraled out of control, Talleyrand quietly turned against him. In 1807, Talleyrand began secretly conspiring with Napoleon's enemies, feeding them information and laying the groundwork for the emperor's eventual downfall. It was a risky game, but Talleyrand approached it with the calm certainty of a man who could turn any setback into an opportunity. One of his most infamous betrayals came in 1809, when he publicly criticized Napoleon's decision to invade Spain. This was more than just political dissent. It was a calculated move to distance himself from a sinking ship. Talleyrand had known that Napoleon's war in Spain was a disaster waiting to happen, and by 1814, as Napoleon's enemies closed in, Talleyrand was already preparing to jump ship and secure his future with the return of the Bourbons. If there was one moment in Talleyrand's life where all his schemes, lies, and betrayals paid off, it was the Congress of Vienna. This wasn't just a diplomatic meeting. Europe was redrawing its map after the Napoleonic Wars, and France had just been the continent's biggest aggressor. For most Frenchmen, it was time to beg for mercy. For Talleyrand, it was an opportunity to turn France's humiliating defeat into a victory. Talleyrand, ever the charmer, spun tales of French suffering under Napoleon's tyranny. He made France to look like a victim. And guess what? It worked. He convinced the powers to go easy on France. It was like robbing a bank and then convincing the police to apologize for not guarding the vaults better. He even secured the restoration of the Bourbon monarchy, not because he cared about royal legitimacy, but because the Bourbons were weak and easy to manipulate. At Vienna, Talleyrand wasn't just a diplomat. He was the puppet master, pulling the strings behind the scenes. Talleyrand's brilliance lay in his ability to be indispensable. No matter who held power, whether it was revolutionaries, emperors, or kings, they all needed him. Why? Because Talleyrand was the man who could transform chaos into order, provided, of course, that he got his cut. He didn't care about ideology or loyalty. He cared about results, and if achieving those results required a bit of treachery, so be it. Talleyrand's career didn't end with the Congress of Vienna. His role in European diplomacy continued well into the 1830s, where he remained a key player behind the scenes. In his later years, he would maneuver through the July Revolution of 1830, a series of events that saw Charles X overthrown and Louis-Philippe rise to power. Talleyrand managed to maintain his influence even as political tides shifted dramatically. By the time of his death in 1838, Talleyrand had survived revolutions, wars, and betrayals. He lived through the reign of Louis XVI, the rise and fall of Napoleon, the restoration of the Bourbons, and the July monarchy. He had outlived his enemies, his allies, and most of his contemporaries, all while securing a comfortable fortune and maintaining his dignity. Talleyrand's life was a testament to the idea that in politics, survival is the ultimate goal. Loyalty, morality, and principles were mere tools to be used or discarded when necessary. For him, the true art of diplomacy lay in the ability to survive and thrive, no matter what chaos surrounded him. Talleyrand's legacy is as controversial as the man himself. Was he a patriot, a traitor, a hero, or a villain? The truth is, he was all of those things, and none of them at the same time. He sold out France, but in doing so, he kept it from collapse. He betrayed every leader he served, yet always landed on his feet. So whether he was a cynical genius or simply a master of playing the game better than anyone else, that's for you to decide. If you enjoyed this look at Talleyrand's life, make sure to check out our other videos on historical figures who shaped the world in their own uniquely treacherous ways. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.